Hey everybody. So I wanted to take a moment to explain our most recent SRQ. Now you guys wrote this on Tuesday. I'm recording this on Friday. I just released all your grades and your feedback, so I thought I would talk a little bit about the SAQ. So what we got here is one of these SAQ short answer questions that involves a document. This one just happens to be a picture. This one, as you can see, was on the 2018 exam, so just a couple years ago. And I picked this one because I thought with a shortened test, only 45 minutes and only maybe a handful of questions, that the people who are going to test you would want to make sure that they tested some of those half skills, some of those historical process, historical context, audience, purpose, point of view skills that you should have learned in AP Euro when they test you. And so this one uses this cartoon. So let's just go down let's look at the cartoon first, and then we'll go through the question. So it's December 1921 cartoon from a British magazine showing British Prime Minister Lloyd George and French Prime Minister Aristide Briand, and a figure representing Germany kneeling in the water. Kneeling in the water. It says it right there. It also tells you where this is from. So if I had a pencil, my DigiPen, I'm going to circle where it says where it comes from a British magazine. I'm probably going to circle when it is, 1921, which means I know this is between the wars. I know this outside of our time frame, but these are just additional skills that you can and should be using. And so British magazine, 1921, and Germany is kneeling in the water. I got two men here in trench coats. This must be Lloyd George and Briand. I have no idea which is which. It doesn't matter. You got a life is over here says Rome, and you got this guy here, obviously kneeling in the water. Germany, who's the guy kneeling in the water, says, "Help! Help! I drowned! Throw me the lifebelt." And Mr. Lloyd George and Mr. Briand, and Monsieur Briand, both say, "Try standing up on your feet." Here it says a transparent dodge. So in other words, this is a dodge would just be a way to try to fool somebody. But because it's transparent, it's very easily observable as a way that they're trying to fool somebody. All right, Missy. So let's go to the questions. It's got one cause of the international situation depicted in the cartoon. This is where your timeline knowledge is going to come in handy. And we did this just after looking at World War I, just after looking at the Peace Treaty of Versailles. So you all know about World War I and how Germany is said to have blamed, or is said to have caused it. They get the blame for it. They also have to pay the reparations for it. And so, as far as one cause of this international situation, the situation is the idea that Germany needs loans. The British and the French are unwilling to give these loans. And so you can describe, and it says over here, these are the scoring notes that they give to people who score these things. For A, says that you should meet the minimum requirement of describe the response must offer an accurate description of the cause of the international situation. So this is the cause one. So you could say the reparations. Many of you did say the reparations from the Treaty of Versailles. Many of you said the war guilt clause, that Germany was blamed for World War I, which is leading to financial difficulties. Some of you said that the trust was broken between Germany and Britain and France because of the war. And so they don't trust the Germans, which totally makes sense. You see here, they've got some examples here. Economic reparations demanded of Germany by Versailles, we mentioned that one. War guilt clause, we mentioned that one. I didn't mention political instability of the early Weimar Republic. I think one person may have mentioned something like that. Economic difficulties faced by post-war Britain and France. We didn't mention that either, but these countries are trying to repay their loans to the U.S. These countries are trying to, Britain and France are trying to repay their loans to the U.S. Britain and France are trying to repay their economies as well. Maybe it's they can't. And that could be a reason too, though I don't think that's quite as good. Some people said that Germany is having trouble repaying its loans. It's not about the loans, people. It's about the reparations. It's about how Germany is being forced to pay the British and the French for the war. And so that's what this one is about. Here you say, here you mention additional note, your mention of war guilt or World War I in general is not enough. You got to say something. So if you said something like World War I is the reason, then you would need to say something like World War I is the reason that Germany's economy is cheated. World War I is the reason why the trust is broken. World War I is the reason why Germany is being forced to pay all these reparations to the British and French, something like that. Let's go on down to number, what's the letter B? Oops, scroll down. Explain one effect of the international situation depicted in the cartoon. So in this case, we're looking for something that comes after this, and we know it's going to be after 1921. And you guys, we didn't get very far, but you guys had enough information in your brain to understand that it was 1921. So this is before the Depression. The Depression was started in the 1930s. Remember, the Depression starts in the U.S. and then spreads to Europe, and so we can mention any of those things. We could mention the effects of this, and here's a list here. The most direct one that I think most historians looked at would be World War II. And I understand that we didn't quite get to World War II, but I did mention it a couple of times. So you could have said that. You could have said, you could talk about hyperinflation that Germany undergoes. You could have talked about the occupation of the Ruhr Valley the French undertake. You could have talked about the Dawes Plan, how the U.S. Does eventually give loans to Germany to help it pay those reparations so that it can get these things. So you could have mentioned the Dawes Plan, how the Dawes Plan then leads to the Depression. You could have said something about the rise of political extremism and how this makes a hard time for the Weimar Republic, the early Republic of Germany, from the very beginning. You could have just said that Germany could feel angry and eventually going to start World War II as a result. Any of that would have worked. And you get a whole list here. And I had a lot of really good answers on that one. I think that one scored more often than most did as far as these two go. But the basic idea is that it takes what's happening here and give me an effect, right? So you could say, Germany's going to get upset about this, so they're going to start a war. The German economy is going to be rough, so they're going to be going through the U.S., which is going to open Europe up to the Depression. General economic disruption in Germany in general. So, in other words, you got to look at the picture, and you got to figure out, like, okay, what's going to come after? You've got to give me something concrete. Okay, in all of these questions, you've got to give me something concrete. If Germany's angry, don't just say Germany's going to be all mad. You got to say something like Germany's going to be all mad, and it's going to be international tensions, which could lead to World. This is going to lead to World War II. When World War II is that concrete that's in it. Don't just give me. It looks like Germany's going to be angry. Give me something concrete that happened as a result of Germany getting angry. Okay. The more evidence you can give in these SAQs that are going to be on the exam, the better off you're going to be. Okay. So evidence. Don't just show me the cliff, push me off the cliff. Imagine me standing on the cliff with my arms out like this. My arms are out like this, and I'm standing on the edge of the cliff. And you have a giant ball of evidence. You throw the ball at me, I would catch it, and I would fall off the cliff, and you would get it. It doesn't push me off cliffs, but that is, you have to give me the evidence. Okay? The evidence is the weight that will push me off the cliff that will get you that point. All right, down to the last one. Now let's go to C. So C talks about the cartoonist perspective. And this is the big question I really want you guys to see before we take that exam. So this is where your half is going to come into practice. And I gave credit on this one, probably more so than you should have. So here in the scoring, it says right here, cartoonist perspective can be understood specifically as a cartoonist assumption that Germany possesses fate, or more generally as a hostile view of Germany held by the cartoonist. Acceptable responses should make at least minimal acknowledgement of the chronological context of the cartoon. In other words, the immediate aftermath of World War I. Some responses may demonstrate awareness that the cartoonist was British, but the response can still achieve the point about directly acknowledging the cartoonist's national origin. And a lot of good answers came out of this one. And I just wanted to highlight a few of those. So first off, a real easy one would be to say that it's a British magazine. This is a British author, and this British author is very much against the Germans because of World War I. So World War I has caused German economic problems. World War I has caused the French and the British to distrust the Germans. World War I has caused blah, 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 blah. So basically, putting it in historical context is a really quick and easy way to get this point. Same with the guy is British. Again, a real easy way to get a quick, easy point here. So I'm here, the example, the recent experience of Germany, of war with Germany led British people like the cartoonist to be hostile to Germany and suspicious of its motives in the post-war period. So in other words, we've got the war with Germany and how it led the British people to be hostile and suspicious. So that's why. So the hostility and the suspicion is here. It says a transparent God. It's an easy to see trick. You can see the guy kneeling. It even says the guy is kneeling. And so it illustrates how much the British distrust the Germans. Let's see. The cost of the war with Germany, or the belief that Germany was the aggressor of the cartoon. Again, so you could tell me that this person is British, and therefore they think the Germans caused the war. Now, here it says additional note. Many students are misinterpreting the cartoon by claiming that the cartoon is sympathetic to the Germans. Not. All right. It's very clear that these guys aren't mocking the Germans. They are calling him out. They're saying, if you really want help, just stand up and take care of yourself. The artist is not saying that these guys are in the wrong, that Erickson and Lloyd are in the wrong. Instead, he's calling up the Germans, calling it state. And so, as far as the cartoonist perspective, he's saying that the Germans are untrustworthy. He's saying that the Germans are lazy. He's saying that the Germans are trying to fool the British and the French again into helping them so that maybe they could lure them into another war, something like that. It's going to give you that point, okay? So there was one example that I wanted to look at here. This is basically, they also give you examples of things that go well, and examples of things that don't go so well. So here it says the cartoonist is drawing for a British magazine, which means that they will most likely have a bias to portray the British and their allies as intellectuals with common sense. The artist portrays Germany as an unkept man kneeling in water who is pleading for help, but could just easily stand up and help himself once now. The artist is saying Germany is falsely calling out for help, pleading to Britain and France for economic aid, and they're completely capable of saving themselves. So this person says that they're British, on the British side, calling out the Germans, all of those illustrate perspective. But you have to give perspective. You can't just describe what is going on. I had a couple of people who just said the British and the French are looking at the German guy who's drowning in debt. That doesn't give me perspective. That just tells me what's happening in the picture. Okay? So in addition to reading the question, you have to make sure that you're answering the question. Okay? All right, so I think that's it for today. If you got any questions about this SAQ or any of the other SAQ, let me know, and I will try to get back to you as soon as I can. I'm going to be trying to grade your other SAQs over the weekend and making it a point to get through those, to give you guys some good feedback as much as I can, and try to make some videos along the way. Let's see. I think that's it for now. If anything else comes up, I will let you know. I'm still planning on having another Zoom meeting, hopefully Monday or Tuesday next week. You know, look at my schedule and see what your all's availability is before we set that up. But in the meantime, please be doing those videos. Please be, if using Quizlet, please be studying for your exam. I know that it's not as much maybe that I am grading as far as the review goes, but some of you guys, so we need you guys working because you've worked way too hard this year to stop now. And so we'll keep doing what we're doing, and I'll get back to you in the future later on. Thanks so much. Have a good weekend. Stay safe. Wash your hands. Be safe.